René Washington, joined by Tonya Allen and Gwen Hall, and we are the founding partners of Career Triage HQ. And we are here today for tips, examples, and experiences on ways to successfully maneuver your way through your career. Today's topic is on one of our modules, the feedback factor. And we have a question from one of our presentations on how to deal with a feedback situation when one of the employees that reports to you does not know how to maintain confidentiality. Tonya Allen has a specific experience that connects to that question.
You should have in place a structure where you're able to lay out exactly what you expect. And really for me, there are only two things. You need to maintain confidentiality because in the HR shop, that's our rise and fall, our reputation. So if you're not able to maintain confidentiality, it really, you don't have really a relationship with your customers. The second thing, I expected you to be proactive in helping our customers. So about 8 months into this person's tenure with me, I had a manager to give me a call who bypassed her manager and came directly to me. So I knew there was an issue. And she wanted to hire someone, but was told that she couldn't because she had received information that the person technically was qualified. So I knew the information that she had was regarding an assessment that we complete on applicants, but we were bound by not sharing any scores. We knew the information that the manager was sharing to me had to come out of our HR department. And so after kind of checking and investigating who had been in contact with this manager, it was only this one recruiter that she had worked with or had talked to in any way about this candidate and also about the assessment. So I scheduled a meeting first. I tell her what's going on, what information has come to me, and I'm very open about what was shared with me because I wanted her to understand that I was being transparent and I wanted her to be transparent as well. So I shared with her my information and I asked her a couple of questions. The first is, what do you know about this? And she shared her perspective, which was not the full truth. I knew it wasn't the full truth because I had all of the information and she was the only person who had talked with that manager. But I did not want to accuse her of anything. If trust would be built, she would have to acknowledge the truth about the situation and tell me in her own words what her contribution was to the conversation. So as we were going through, I asked her another question and I say to her, you know, when you came in, I set ground rules. We all abide by the ground rules as a team. And we are only as strong as our weakest link. And so I need for you to be honest with me and tell me what happened so that we can move forward in this situation. I need to be able to trust you for you to stay employed here. So she then tells me the truth. So the response to that was there was a disciplinary action. She did maintain her position, and certainly if she had crossed that boundary again, we would have another discussion and her job may be at risk at that point. But because she was able to tell me the truth, and I do believe because I was being transparent with her, we were able to move forward and she ended up working with me for 5 years beyond that. So there is a way to salvage that, but people need to understand when you say maintain confidentiality, that's what you mean. So it has to be addressed. There has to be some form of trust, even in that conversation, that what you said to that person is the truth and that you would enact whatever consequences that you shared would happen, but it was a safe conversation.
You know, as a manager having to give feedback in a sensitive situation like that, you want to take yourself through a mental checklist on the decision tree being, did you communicate? Did the employee have clear information on the parameters and boundaries of the of the role. And in Tonya's example, clearly she had communicated. So it was not that the person didn't know what type of information they were supposed to share and not share. They knew. But if you answer no to that question, then there's a different path for you to take, because you need to circle back and do better communicating on the parameters of the role. But then when Tonya had the conversation, she was able to establish trust and elicit the truth by letting the person know, okay, a breach had occurred. You will get an opportunity to correct it, but we need to be very clear that this was a one-shot deal. You may be dealing with someone who you've been down this road with them on more than one occasion, and you have to make a different decision. But at each point, you ask yourself a question, and then that directs the path that you go down to handle the situation.
Thank you, Renee, and thank you, Tonya, for sharing that information. And the two things that we hope that you have taken away from this particular topic as it relates to confidentiality and how Tonya greatly set up the setting expectations up front: transparency and trust. Transparency and trust. With that being said, we thank you for joining us for the Feedback Factor with Career Triage HQ. You don't want to miss being with us on April the 2nd for our upcoming master class, where we will be talking about a lot of different topics that will be meaningful and impactful for you and your career going forward.
April the 2nd at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So please join us. And thank you for joining us today.